Hi everyone and good afternoon. So as we always start our webinars, with some good, well-said quotes, I'll start with something said by Sir Napoleon long back. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And today, we would also conduct a session which would make sure to provide the very essence of this well-said quote by Mr. Napoleon. Well, today we have Miss Aruna Appasamy from Sir Sri Kanchi Mahaswamy Vidya Mandir, India, where she serves as a CBSE principal, trainer, and consultant. She is an experienced principal with a demonstrated history of working in the education management industry, skilled in educational consulting, lesson planning, educational technology, instructional design, and classroom management. That is just wow. Ma'am is an extraordinary personality who has a strong education professional with MA focus in English language and literature, letters from University of Madras. We welcome ma'am once again and request her to take ahead with the webinar.
Thank you for the nice introduction. One small thing, I'm not the principal, I'm the advisor. I have completed 2 decades of principalship. Totally, I have a career of 40 years. And in that, now for the last 3-4 years, I have been the academic advisor. Okay, so presently, I'm the academic advisor of Sri Kanchi Mahaswamy Vidya Mandir, which is in Rajakilpakkam, Chennai. This is a unique school. You can find the details of the school in the website Sri Kanchi Mahaswamy Vidya Mandir.edu.in. Now, let's move on to the topic. Shall we start? Yes, enhanced curriculum implementation measures. Well, there was a lot of, there was a discussion, animated discussion about what is enhanced curriculum. Well, we have to read together. Enhanced curriculum implementation measures. First of all, what is curriculum, right? Let's look at this, then we will know. Objective of this seminar or webinar. Well, the objective of this webinar is to identify and understand the pedagogical processes. What do you mean by pedagogical processes? The classroom techniques required for enhanced curriculum implementation. Then apply the knowledge acquired, that is, whatever we understand, identify, to identify further the implementation process and status. So first we identify the pedagogical processes required, that is the classroom techniques. And after that, we identify the implementation process and status, and then identify how this is the objective of this webinar. Also, what do we mean by curriculum? The meaning and definition of the word curriculum. Very simply put, curriculum is what is taught in a given course or subject. It refers to the interactive system of instruction. And it talks about, how we learn with specific goals, content, strategies, measurements, and resources, right? Specific goals. It's not as if, we are learning, our course of learning is something unplanned. We plan our course of learning and we learn what we want to reach, a specific goal. And for that, we go through certain contents using strategies required. And there is a measurement adapted at the end to check whether we have really successfully employed the strategies and we have successfully utilized the resources. Okay. And then, so totality of student experiences that occur in an educational process is known as curriculum. So what is curriculum? Curriculum is the totality of student experiences. Whatever the student experiences when he comes to school. Say now all schools are reopening after 2 years. Even KG children come to school without crying. And they are happy. They are happy to see the school. They are happy to be outside their homes, outside their study room, where they are asked to look at a screen and learn. That has become a thing of the past, and now they are outside. So once they come to the school, when they see the open classroom and the teacher welcomes them with all decorated classroom, he is undergoing a new experience. So that is something motivating him to learn. And once he comes to the higher classes, right, if you think of students in third and fourth, they don't want to go back home. They say, ma'am, no need to send me, ma'am. I am happy here with all the children. All my friends are here. So that is another student experience. And then once you think of higher classes, further to the, say, 6, 7, 8, they are happy to be moving around, looking at people and not scream, right? I am reminded of the story, the fun they had, which you have in English curriculum. Right? Then once you come to 10th and 12th, as usual, they are thinking of their examination. How are we going to appear for this exam? Now that everything has started, everything is out in open, how are we going to appear for this exam, perform well? How are we going to? So all this is showing the totality of student experience. I have taken only small examples from various age groups, but totality means the total experience, that is whatever he has undergone, whatever the student has undergone in one academic year, the end of it, there are so many dimensions to this experience, and the whole totality is what is called curriculum implementation. What do you mean by pedagogy? These are all terms already known to practicing teachers. I'm not certainly introducing these terms, but we are revisiting these concepts in order to understand what do you mean by enhanced curriculum implementation measure. Pedagogy is formed by an educator's teaching beliefs and concerns. My screen is somewhat stopped, I know, partially. Yes.
No, ma'am, the pedagogy screen is visible. Examples of pedagogy.
It is visible to everyone. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Between culture and different ways to learn. It simply put, it refers to the teaching approaches that a teacher is planning. Of course, it is not just teaching anymore. It is a teaching learning process. We are not referring to only teaching process. It is a teaching learning process. In other words, the teacher co-learner. The teacher is not anymore an authority in the classroom, but a teacher is a co-learner. That is how it goes. So pedagogy refers to the teaching approaches, the approach that a teacher is going to adapt in delineating the learning concepts, in reaching the learning objective and the outcome, and how we are going to assess. Everything is included in pedagogy. The participants, if you want, you can raise your questions in chat box. I'll be looking at the chat box once in 10 minutes. So examples of pedagogy, this again is something known to you. Multiple intelligence theory. It's an example of a pedagogy. Right? It is actually a theory in education, but when we implement it in the class, it becomes a pedagogy. Right? Art integration methods, that again is a pedagogical process. When we give sensorial perception to the students, that also is part of pedagogy. I'm trying to come out with examples well known to everyone so that it will be easy for us to move forward. Now, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, you all know verbal intelligence, linguistic, you have analytical intelligence, right? Spatio-visual intelligence, all these things. You have already come across all this, so I need not be detailing it here. Arts integration methods, that is bringing in several art forms in the learning of classes subjects. Right? This is now advocated by CBSE as well as I think ICSE. Sensorial perception methods, right? Sensorial perception. Sensorial perception, the 5 senses. It is said that the more senses that you use in the process of learning, the more you absorb. Well, after all, what is the ultimate aim? What is the ultimate goal of the teacher or the school or even the parent or the student? In fact, to put it in a single word, all the stakeholders, everybody wants to learn, right? And for that, what we have to do, we have to think of using as many senses as possible, sensorial perception. Now, what does this mean? Are we not using our senses when we are, listening to somebody in the class? Then what do we say we have to use sensorial perception? What this means is we have to keep our students dynamic. Students, their age group being less, than they are young, they want to be dynamic, they want to be active, and they want to be in the center of everything. If we do not fulfill all this, the students may not be listening, may not be learning, may not be participating in the class. Okay, if we ask them to listen, they will. But if you ask them to only listen, they will not. In other words, if we are going to be talking using the time-worn lecture method, it is not going to be helpful. We have to bring. So now you think of it, or if there are 40 children in the class, you feel that not all the 40 are of the same level. We have a heterogeneous class. And moreover, the learners are of different kinds. So coping with the learner is a task given to the teacher. It is a challenge faced by all the teachers. So how do we cope with learners? What does that mean, coping with learners? Learners are of different kinds. Some of them learn in an auditory way. Some of them want a visual input. Some of them are kinesthetic. They cannot be sitting idle. They must be in the center of the action. That is their attitude. So like this, you have different kinds of learners. You will be aware of this already. And you will find that these learners require different methods of looking at lessons and different methods of listening to the teacher. In fact, the inputs that are given to them should be of different nature in order to make them understand. That is it. What happened? Is my screen seen?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, it is in examples of pedagogy.
Pardon? It is still in the, 1 second. I have moved and it is still like it is Microsoft Windows. It's not responding suddenly.
Oh.
Right.
Ma'am, maybe you can just try stop sharing and sharing again. That can solve the problem. Can you hear me, Aruna ma'am? Okay, so ma'am is joining in another minute. She's facing some network issues. Please be patient. Ma'am will be here very soon again. Also, whosoever missed any part of the session, don't worry. The entire recorded session will be there on YouTube by our end. And yes, during the end of the session, we'll send a certificate link across, for you all to fill. And please fill with correct email IDs. Otherwise, we can't really help, in order to get you your certificates. It's very difficult for us as well because we have a crowd of 300 to 500 every time. And please enter email IDs, with the utmost attention actually. So yes, ma'am will be joining in another minute. She's facing some network issues. Please be patient. She will be here anytime. Thank you. Aruna ma'am, I've made you the co-host. Can you unmute? Ma'am, you can unmute, ma'am. I've made you the co-host.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Yes. Now we'll continue with our.
Yeah. You can share your screen once again, ma'am.
Yeah.
And also you can turn the annotation option again. So.
Yes. Annotation option again. That means, we have to go there and look at this. No, I'm not getting that annotation option. I would like to continue with my PPT, madam.
Yeah, ma'am, you have to share your screen first and then the option will be visible.
Yes.
But you haven't shared your screen.
I have shared my screen now. No.
No, ma'am. You have to go to the Zoom, then click on the share screen option and then you'll be able to share the screen.
Yeah. I'm very much in the meeting.
Yeah.
Share screen. Yes. Now can you see?
Yes, ma'am. Now your screen is visible and now you can turn the annotation option off.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Right. I would like to go from the current slide. Then examples of pedagogy. This we were discussing sensorial perception, and we were talking about how it is important to involve all the students in the class. And we also spoke about the different kinds of learners and how the teacher faces a challenge every day in the class to cope with the different learners, their attitudes, and to make them involved in the learning process. And for that, we have to involve so many other techniques, right? We have to understand the nature of the learner and what is his dominant intelligence trait. Some of them are very good to listen. Some of them, they want only visual inputs. And then, they do not want boredom. They want things to be conveyed in a very exciting manner. And then sensorial perception, right? Sensorial perception means we have to apply as many senses as possible, not just, the hearing part alone. Right? So what do you mean by pedagogical practices? The practices, the classroom techniques which we use, they should be different. The child-centered inquiry and play-based learning, right? This is one of the major traits of NEP, New Education Policy. Okay, the example I would like to give you is the student's role in the class. If the student, when the students come, for example, when the KG students come to class, you have to give them a circle time, right? If it is classes 1 and 2, then you have to give them some physical activity. Okay, and then you are making them, you are giving them ice breaking sessions, like clapping hands or raising their hands and doing that jig in order to be excited, and then they will be slowly calming down and listening to the teacher. So the students role in the class, then responsive relationships need to be created. What do you mean by responsive relationships? Responsive relationships means the student's response to what is going on in the class, the student's response to the teacher. That he is not reacting, he is giving a response. When the student is listening, that is a response. When the student is writing, when the student is speaking, when he is giving an option, then that is a response. Okay, so we give them assignments after we complete one concept, after we complete handling one small idea, then we give them assignments, we give them worksheets. And in the worksheet, how they respond is that is indicating the responsive relationship. Collaborative inquiry and critical reflection. What does this mean? Collaborative inquiry, right? Group activities in class for discussion, right? And presentation, critical reflection, analysis being developed. How do we make students understand? We have a question in the examination, distinguish between, or what is the difference between this and that. So that is analysis. So analysis has to go on. If they are simply listening, they are not going to be understanding. But on the other hand, when we give them a group activity in which they will be discussing, and then they will be presenting, give them an opportunity to make presentations in the classes, small presentations where they will be looking at minor concepts, or even some questions which can be asked even in the examination. But if you allow them to look at it only, they will be able to critically reflect. Observation and listening. This is example, individual activities and worksheets for submission. What we have to be repeatedly ensuring that the students participate in the class. And to make them participate in the class, we have to have so many plans of action, right? Our lesson plan is full of how we are going to reach the objective or outcome and how we are going to assess them. That is nothing but a plan of involving the students. But we are using the terms, right? Jargons. So maybe it does not look like that to some teachers. And whatever I say now is only a simplified version. We have to be observing and listening, and we have to give all these practices in order to have enhanced curriculum implementation measure, right? It is not, say, curriculum we know, enhanced curriculum that includes, so many other concepts, and curriculum implementation is what we do to implement whatever, that is the totality of experiences which we spoke about. What is curriculum? Curriculum is the totality of experiences which a student gets when he is undergoing a particular course of learning. So in order to give that experience, what are the different aspects that you have to touch? You have to touch so many other aspects, and you have to be looking at all these practices which will make it child-centered, and the student will not be left out. Right? This collaborative inquiry is very important because they are going to be discussing things among their own level, and a class library in the corner of a class, or even the books brought from the library for the particular class, by the teacher, can be distributed. Either if there is facility for a class library, students can access that, or the teacher can bring the necessary books from the library and distribute among the students when they are discussing So that will be developing research practices. Children will get the idea that they have to refer to the book and learn. They have to refer to the book, take out the concept, and they have to present. This way, the students will be, more interested, and they will be participating in the class much better. So there is a responsive relationship developed there. It is not just assignments, but through research methods also. So if we can research methods, they'll be thinking how to do research, what research. Some of them will just Google and give. But we have a library in a school and we want students to refer to those books also. So pick out the necessary books and show it to them. So you will be facilitating usage of library as well as research methods by doing this. And definitely the practice would be child-centered, and everyone would participate, listen, and learn. Can I move to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So again, further examples, you have documentation and narration. What do you mean by documentation and narration? Right? When we allow students to discuss, right? They are discussing, they are talking among themselves. And then when they present, right, they will be either explaining. There can be different methods of presentation. If the school has the facility of AV, then the student will be making a small PPT and presenting, or the student can even make a small chart. He can narrate something by showing the chart. So that is a documentation. When they are writing down something, that is a documentation. And there is a drawing activity given there, that is arts integration, right? You are bringing in several techniques. Then planning and implementation. What is planning and implementation? When, say, so far we were discussing what we can do in the class. Now I am thinking of moving forward a little bit. We have discussed something in the class, and then the children go back home. You want to give them a larger concept. You want to give them a larger role. So there you give them a project work. Project work can mean referring and writing, or preparing a working model, or even a static model, depending upon the facility. Two participants have raised hands. Harsha, would it be okay to take all queries at the end together?
Yes, ma'am. We'll take at the end only.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll come back to all of you. I'm going at top speed so that I'll be able to complete whatever I've got. Okay, so planning and implementation, it is giving project works. Sometimes you even ask them, to find the answer to something. You give them a different picture and you ask them to find out. Now, we are teaching life skills in the school. Of course, indirectly, not in a direct method. Life skills are taught in a context of something different. Now, when we teach life skills, you can give them a situation and you can ask whether it is a small problem or a bigger problem. You can give them 10 such situations and issue, and what will be your response to all this, right? And even you can give them something like, a situation where people are not cooperating, and you can ask them, how will you convey this? Will you be conveying your response to this in a polite way, or an aggressive way, or a diplomatic way? So all this will make them think further, and they will be able to come out further with their own ideas. So what we are actually doing is we are making them think more and more. So in this process, you are using thinking skills and analytical skills, right? And of course, you are going to give them further project works. So program assessment and adaptation, this actually refers to teacher's role in the school, right? So the teacher has to adapt to the situation. There may be, you would have decided that you will teach one lesson in 3 units. No lesson can be completed as a single unit. That will be a wrong approach. Okay, because we have to first of all move from the known to the unknown. And for that, we have to recall and we have to make them understand and then go to the known part. And after that, take them to the unknown part. And there are so many steps that we have to take. So a single unit, yes, no lesson can be completed in a single unit. You will be using different units. Now, you would have made some plans, but when you go to the class, you may find that the students require more time. So there, you are assessing the situation and you find out that some branching is required and the students require more time. So you have to adapt yourself to the situation, right? And then, of course, sometimes you will find that things take a different route and the students are demanding something which is outside the text, but that also you have to provide, because if you are not going to satisfy the curiosity of the child has to be raised first of all. Second thing, the curiosity of the child has to be satisfied. If these two things do not happen, then there is no learning. It is only rote learning taking place. In order to avoid rote learning, in other words, in order to have enhanced curriculum implementation measure, we have to satisfy the curiosity of the child. Okay, so that will also demand more time, or the smartness of the teacher in how we can engage them outside. For example, a history teacher who is going to the class may suddenly be faced with the question in the present days: will Ukraine-Russia war turn into a world war? Everybody is discussing this. So this is not really connected with your textbook. This is not really connected with your syllabus. But you cannot refuse discussing this situation. You have to discuss, and for this you have to do a lot of research on your own, and you have to learn first of all on your own, and then you have to discuss it in the class. And this is what is meant by adapting yourself to the situation. Program assessment, when the student is asking this question, I have to give this answer, right? And then I have to think of how I can really adapt this to the curriculum which I have on hand. That is the teacher's role, right? Teacher is the leader in the class. And of course, the teacher is also the co-learner. Pedagogical leaders share leadership. What does this mean? There is no center of authority, right? We apply one successful program to another context also. In other words, the wheel need not be reinvented every time. We can very well borrow the technique used in one context, and we can try to use the same technique with certain adaptations to another situation. These are also, examples of how we can actually make our classes more interesting for better participation from the students, which will be enhanced curriculum implementation measure, right? I hope I can move to the next slide. Right, arts integration, there is a manual brought out by CBSE for this. This point is only from that, the CBSE website has a manual from which you can download, and you can see beautiful explanation is given. Many of them commit the error of calling it only art integration. It is not art, it is arts. You have fine arts, performing arts, plastic arts. In other words, you can have different activities, right? Even clay modeling is one of the art integration activity. Like, examples are also given there. You can check it out, please. So how do we have arts integration carried out in the class? See, arts integration, according to CBSE, is mandatory for classes 1 to 12. It is considered a pedagogic tool used to connect knowledge to the world outside, and to ensure that learning shifts from rote methods. Rote memory is not necessary. Rote method is not necessary. So in order to enhance understanding, arts integration is brought in by CBSE as a result of many research activities that the board has carried out. The board has carried out a lot of academic research. It has encouraged teachers to carry out action research. And maybe some of the participants today might have submitted even action research proposals or reports, right? So this arts integration is one such pedagogic tool developed to connect the knowledge which is generated in the class to world outside, right? And to ensure that learning shifts from rote memory. Participate and supports teaching assessment of application skills in students, right? Instead of simply listening and reproducing that without understanding, they understand, analyze, and apply the skills that they have developed in learning the subject. It stimulates all senses. Sensorial perception, please recall that, right? This stimulates arts integration, stimulates all senses and enables deeper learning. So sensorial perception is greater, right? How does it stimulate? Think of it. If we are going to set to tune theorem and make them sing it in the class, will anybody forget it later? Right? Think of it, right? They do. And role play. Role play is also an arts integration technique. You're going to think of, if you're going to show how the heart works, right? Suddenly, they how it would be done. And think of the joy the children are going to derive by participating, right? In order to enjoy, see, enjoyment is also necessary. Learning should be pleasurable. This is also a very important concept. In order to make learning pleasurable, we have to bring joy to the classroom. So arts integration technique will help in bringing out joy to the class. And it simplifies the complex concepts. So transdisciplinary projects for assessment is possible. What do you mean by transdisciplinary? That is cross-curricular linkages. This is the term used in NEP. The new education policy uses the term cross-curricular linkages. So you can have the art teacher also in the class when this is happening, right? So the students will be excited to see, something out of the way happening, and 2-3 teachers joining together and giving a class. And you will find that assessment can be served, it will serve multiple purpose. Instead of giving different assessments, one assessment can be used to give scores for so many people. Can I move to the next one? So what are the steps in implementing this arts integration? First of all, please remember to select a topic relevant to the curriculum. Then creative inquiry to be adapted. This is important. It's not just, simply bringing in art to the class. That is not going to help. But we have to bring creative inquiry into the class. In other words, the children will have to select which method in art, which kind of art will be useful for which topic or concept. Okay. Then reflection of new learning using art forms, right? They think of whatever new concepts they are learning using the new art form which they are adapting. And then revision opportunities to improve the work of students necessary. After using the art form, the student may feel, no, I have to correct myself in this particular area. So for that, he should be given an opportunity. Understanding their own work and their peer work. They can compare. Sometimes you ask the entire class, you divided into different groups to present on the same concept, right? So how the students differ in the presentations that they are doing, how they are sharing the concept, that is important. So when they look at others and how they understand, how they view the work of others, that is the other students in the class, right? That critically analyze. They will critically analyze with that of the peer. In other words, will compare and will find out, oh, there are so many methods that we can use. Okay, assessment for subject arts. Let's not think that there should be a new assessment for every concept. One assessment can be used to mark for subjects, so that life of children as well as the teacher is made easy. Rubrics are necessary for assessment. Integrated lesson plans for subjects. In other words, when you are using arts integration, that should be reflected in the lesson plan which you are submitting to the principal, and it is for our record. So here again, this is also taken from that manual given by CBSE, right? It talks of, the list of suggestive activities, right? We start from the top, role play, then video making or film making. Nowadays, students are very much interested in this, right? Photography, slideshows or PPTs, designing through Photoshop or other apps. Sketching, sculpture, clay, dance performance in the class. Think of it, right? Dance performance in the class. Creating art reservoir using waste material. Collage, we say. Children are very much interested in collage work or, best out of waste. Jewelry making, paper quilling, and arts exhibition. Whatever they have done in the class throughout the year, using that we can have an art exhibition. This is a screenshot taken from CBSE's manual on arts integration. You can refer that manual, and much more information is given there. I have referred to that book in the making of this PPT, and I acknowledge the source. Please note it. It is from CBSE's manual on arts integration. It's very much available in CBSE's website. So enabling better retention. So long we were looking at, one second, please, sorry. So long we were looking at what is meant by enhanced curriculum implementation measure. Okay. So when we have, enhanced curriculum implementation measure, what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is to participate. The purpose of this is to ensure that all the students participate in the class, that all the students learn. No child left behind policy, right? Every single child should be included in the class in some method or the other. Okay, so better participation, it leads to greater understanding. When understanding is greater, there is no rote learning. When there is no rote learning, there is no pressure or stress on the memory, right? It automatically paves the way for better retention. Then we have memory techniques, right? So many memory techniques. Teachers are familiar with all this. After all, you are preparing the students for the exam. So you will know what are memory techniques. First thing, right? We can use, say concept map for our reference. Easy way of learning. Mind map techniques, concept map techniques, or, bulletin points, or you have, clouds in which you will be writing. Right? You will draw small clouds, and in that cloud, you will write 1 point each, and how the points progress from which way to which side. That is important. And these things are applied in the class also, right? We are going to show our students, once we complete learning the concept, we are going to show our students how these techniques can be used for this particular subject, so that, they will be able to apply this concept and they will be able to remember it for a long time. When they remember it for a long time, it is better retention. Think of it, right? And all those old time methods like writing notes, that can be dispensed with, right? Writing notes is not necessary anymore. In other words, what is necessary is developing how to close sentences in English or in the medium of instruction in the lower classes, so that when the children come to higher classes, points are given to them in the form of a thinking, in the form of a mind map or concept map or cloud or bulletin points. They will be able to convert it into full sentences and write it in the examination. This is necessary. Once we make this paradigm shift, once we make up this movement towards progress, life of students will become very easy. At present, it is very difficult for them because they have to remember all those terminology, and they have to, be learning so many answers, rote learning, right? And they have to present it exactly in the same way as it is given in the text in order to gain scores. But once we go for better retention, and once we start using presentation techniques in different methods, then the memory technique will be applied and students will be able to understand easily. Then they will be able to do better automatically. So memory techniques, I just got a list here, which will be known to the teachers actually, right? We are just revisiting the concept. Yes.
Yes. Very sorry
Yes,
for disturbing, ma'am. But ma'am, we have another 5 minutes for wrapping up the session. Then we'll have the Q&A.
I think I will be able to. I think I will be able to finish. Right?
Yes.
I believe this is the last one. So memory techniques, I'm just reading out. Visualize the information. Use acronyms and mnemonics. Image name associations. Chaining technique learned by doing. Images for learning such as mind map and revisiting the material. Retention is the process of transferring new information into long-term memory. Right? So we were talking about in the beginning of the seminar, we were thinking how curriculum implementation, enhanced curriculum implementation measure can lead to retention. This is the answer. Retention is the process of transferring new information into long-term memory. Taken information able to recall in future. So this enables lifelong learning. Learning is not just about memorizing. Let us educate. Okay. And now for the questions. I'm trying to look into the chat box. Really informative mission. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you so much. Cannot see the link. Thank you, Aruna ji. Thank you, Prashanti ji. You may post all your questions.
So, ma'am, we have a question by Bibek Mandal ji.
Please. Where is it? I'm not able to see it in the chat box. It's moving.
Ma'am, can you see?
Yes, how to encourage children to do charts, projects, give them scores, give them, rewards. It is necessary to give them rewards, otherwise they won't do. Okay. They may feel a little compelled. It is true that some of them are like that, some new messages. What type of project should be assigned to students of classes? Madam, if you are in CBSE, please visit CBSE website. Go to CBE, that is competency-based education, and there you have teacher resources. For 9th and 10th, they have given a beautiful delineation of everything, right? For all subjects. So please look at that. That will give you all the details. Okay. Somebody has asked about techniques for KG English. I'm sorry, it's just moved out, right? KG English, people start learning only by committing errors. Allow them to speak, give them freedom. Let them speak wrong English, then slowly they will learn correct English. Okay. Object identification, sign language, even bilingualism, that is including your mother tongue, everything can be included while you are doing KG. because KG is the starting point. Thank you so much. Right, in spite of content, many are distracted to the art form. Yes, that is how they will be, their age. How can it help for Hindi? Hindi is also a language. So it's a skill-based application, LSRW. Okay, really effective session. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Right. Any other question? Madam, you spoke about one question. Can you repeat it, please? Harsha?
Yes, ma'am. I think you already answered the question, ma'am, but I think you left this one question in between. So one,
Yes.
he asked that we know they are better to use the technology, but they have forgotten to write. So I want to give them a writing practice as sitting in the home. So how can I do that?
Yes, start with small measures. Don't give big things immediately. Nobody will do big things immediately. Start with small measures. Write short questions, two sentences, 3 sentences, or converting, data informatics, we say. We give them a data and we ask them to interpret. Give them a picture and ask them to interpret the picture by answering the questions given there. Even for higher classes, you can do this. Okay, or give them some bulletin points and ask them to make it into full sentences. It is true that we now have a big challenge of giving them writing practice. Many students have forgotten to hold the pencil in primary classes. So what we have to do, we have to give them short measures, simple measures in the beginning to make them take a big thing. How to eliminate fear of maths? In order to overcome fear of water, you have to jump into water. In the same way, fear of maths, it is created by the world outside, or some people at home who do not get maths. First thing we have to tell our parents, please do not make negative comments about maths. Right? If the father is not able to learn maths, or if he was if he faced a challenge in learning maths, he will tell the child, oh, the difficulties I had in maths, I hope you will be able to overcome. That is enough to create fear. Fear is created by us. Fear is not inborn. Fear is created by us. Right? Right. Thank you, ma'am. Agree completely. Thank you so much. Any other question? Kindly send
no,
feedback.
I can't. Ma'am, I'll share you the feedback. We have already collected feedback. So I'll share you that personally. Okay. And as of now, I don't think so there's any other question which you haven't answered.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What I have done is only, I'm not giving you anything new. What I have done is only to focus on what is already existing in different places that I have brought together and displayed it here. That's all. Okay. So what can we do for compression type questions for students? Compression or comprehension. What does she mean? How to train children vocationally? Vocationally, we have to find their own interest, and it should not be, like they should not think vocational training is something not desired, right? Attitude change has to be brought in, right? Attitude change has to be brought in. Well, I enjoyed the session, and I thank all the participants for taking interest. I only hope that it was useful, and I thank the organizers and Harsha Agarwal.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here and gracing us with the knowledge today. Thank you, ma'am. Means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.